You know, folks, sometimes when you write the script for an introduction to a segment, you try to include something that'll grab the attention of the viewer and make them want to stick around for it. But this story really needs no special dressing at all. And here it is. In 2021, 16 U.S. cities have set new records for homicides. Enough said. Let's welcome in our panel, Mathew Fogg, who's a retired Chief Deputy U.S. Marshal, and Dominick Izzo, former police officer and author of Before the Badge, Everything You Need to Know Before You Become a Cop. Gentlemen, welcome to both of you. And Albuquerque, Atlanta, Austin, Baton Rouge, Columbus, Ohio, Indianapolis, Jackson, Mississippi. I'm going alphabetically. That's 7 of the 16 cities across the country that have set new homicide records this year. Dominick, let me be very generic and start with you. Why is this happening?
Because they're allowed to. There's no other reason. You're not going to find any other reason than criminals are not being prosecuted. Cops are doing their job. I've talked about this several times on RT. You have your state's attorney, your district attorney, depending upon where your state is, which is an elected position. They are not prosecuting. It's, oh my gosh, let's just downplay these communities and baby them. And the recidivism rate is insane. And this is all this is they're just not being prosecuted, held accountable. Bad guys know this. They're out there to do whatever they can do, and they have no consequences for their actions. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, Mathew?
Well, the bottom line is there's a police slowdown as well. I mean, the police were upset because of the fact that a lot of stuff was going on around policing and people was beginning to expose policing for what it was. I was in it for 30 years, I know. And the bottom line was police said, all right, well, we're going to get tired. We're just not going to do our jobs. We're going to put the word on the street, kill who you want. And at the same time, you're right. I mean, the bottom line is we got a war on drugs out here that still basically we're targeting, we've opened up the store to where people can just go out there and kill who they want. So when you add all those things together, that's why you're getting this crime wave.
You know, Dominick, one of the many lunatic policies sweeping liberal cities is no bail or low bail. And one report by Fox 26 in Houston says that over 150 people have been killed there by suspects who Democrat judges mostly have released on bond in Harris County, Texas. They claim a number of the suspects doing the killing were charged with capital murder and then released, awaiting trial. What the hell is going on in this country?
It's failure to do their job by these the prosecutors out here in Chicago. Just a couple of months ago, we had 2 rival gangs in the city of Chicago that were in a war, right, shooting each other. Several members from each gang were arrested, had guns on them, this and that stuff. It was screened by Kim Foxx's state's attorney branch, and there was no charges made because it was mutual combatant. I don't understand if people don't. I agree with Mathew. Mathew is right on so much stuff. Why would you be a cop today knowing that you're going to do your end of the job? And then we've seen what happens. The media jumps to conclusions and puts out the 30 seconds of footage out there and the cop is crucified. Why would a cop do anything when they're not backed up by the very process and the system of the courts that's supposed to be backing them up? So Matthew's right on that. You get a lot of cops who are just going to turn corners, drive your squad car, make a right-hand turn, collect that check every week, and just keep moving on. There's no point in doing anything.
Go ahead, Mathew.
One of the things I'll say this is that I'm not just saying that the cops are right in what they're doing. I'm just saying the fact is that there was never no accountability. Then you had a powder keg. The country blew up once we saw the George Chapin case where he put his knee on his neck and that type of thing, the cop shooting the guy in the back down in South Carolina. We could just go on and on with these incidents. There was never really no accountability for the bad cops. And what happened was then the news jumped into it and started profiling this stuff. And next thing you know, police were saying they're being thrown under the bus. The biggest incident that I look at is what happened up in New York when half the police department turned their back on the mayor up there, Mayor de Blasio. So it says that the unions and a lot of these things, the unions have a lot of control. So if we really want to really attack this system, what we got to do is ratchet down on this whole drug thing and then go after violent criminals. I agree. Somebody's using a gun, killing somebody, whatever, they belong in jail, not somebody selling marijuana and simple things that we got caught up into and built a prison industrial complex on low-level dealers instead of dealing with the serious crime that was out there. That's where I see it.
Well, Well, let me bring this up. Talk about New York City. First of all, I'm a former New York City PBA Man of the Year. That honor was bestowed upon me by Pat Lynch, the president of the PBA. And I'm very proud of that. But it just is totally insane what's going on in New York. They disbanded the undercover anti-crime unit. The new mayor-elect says he's going to put it back, and one of the heads of BLM in the New York area says, if you do that, there'll be blood in the streets. We're going to riot. I mean, Matthew, that's insanity.
Well, yeah, it's insanity, but it's not really if you look at the fact that a lot of these cops are jumping out on low-level people. If you were really taking the violent people off the street, that's one thing. What happened is he started using it as a tool to be able to control cities, do what you want, get away with stuff. You got all these reports coming out that cops are coming forward now admitting they planted drugs on people. They messed up the institution by doing what they wanted to do. So the reality of it is people don't trust the police anymore, rightfully so. So we need to correct that situation, but we don't need to be going after low-level, filling our prisons up with low-level criminals.
Dominick, I think most people, including polls that have been taken in the black community, show they want the police. They want more police. Right. So Matthew could say they don't trust them, but they want them to protect their homes and their families.
That's accurate. When I ran for Cook County Sheriff out here in Chicago, I spent time in the black neighborhoods, and I would ask them, what do you need? And the amount of candid wanting of police, righteous police, is sometimes I disagree with Matthew, but a lot of times when Matthew says something, he hits the nail on the head. There is a lot of low-level garbage that is done in law enforcement because the uppers, the command staff, impose department policies that have performance evaluations. Right. So you're going to go after what can. So the bottom line is for this is the fish rots from the head down. If you really want police accountability, you got to start with the brass. You got to start with the mayors and the brass, and no one wants to take them on because Matthew's dead on in a lot of aspects.
I think we got to get back to common sense and go after the criminals and then take it from there. But gentlemen, Happy New Year to both of you. Thank you for joining us. Appreciate it.